Hello there. This is Melody from Melody of Soul, where we target things like beauty, fitness, wellness, spirituality, and we do it through the lens of Ayurveda, which is the ancient art and science of wise living. So today we're going to talk about eyesight. Today I have 5 practices for you that you can do at home whenever you want to strengthen your eyesight. That's what I said. They're ancient yogic and Ayurvedic practices that have been used for centuries to help strengthen the eyes. I've used them myself, and anytime I start to notice any weakness in my eyes, I go back to them. So without further ado, here we go. Exercise number 1. This is a pretty simple one, but it does help with also fine lines and wrinkles around the eyes, and it helps to strengthen what's called the orbicularis oculi, which is this big muscle that wraps all the way around the eye and is in control of all of its movement and functions. So here's the trick. Watch. See what's happening there? Okay, now some people, this happens, right? We want to isolate the forehead and just open, clockwork orange it, open the eyes, close them, open. So it's a activation, relaxation, activation, relaxation. I recommend doing this in rounds of 20. Maybe you can start at 10 if that's too much. And just notice how your eyes feel when you get done. This helps strengthen that whole area. And these sagging lids, all of those things, it can actually help tighten all of that. Because just as you know, as you work a muscle, you bring a lot of blood flow to it and it refreshes everything. The skin tightens, you get more nutrition going there, let's say that. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's where we're gonna go. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, this one is for depth perception. So the best place to do this is in nature, but if you're not around nature, you can also use buildings. I personally like to use trees, my favorites. So what you would find is just a branch somewhere, something that looks a little blurry to you, and just stare at it. It doesn't matter if it's one of those leaves, it doesn't matter if it's something larger. You want to aim for something that's about 20 to 100 feet away, and that all depends on what your eyesight is now. So I like to sit outside and just find a point, stare. You want to do this for a minimum of 20 seconds, but you can do it up to 5 minutes if your eyes can take that. And as you watch it, you're just going to see how clear you can get that point that you're staring at. This helps with depth perception. So if you're like me, a couple years ago, I had to wear glasses because as I was driving, I noticed that I couldn't see how far the cars were. I also had some problems with darkness vision. But doing these exercises, I no longer wear glasses, I no longer wear contacts. And every time I notice that that starts to come back, I do it again. And I live in Thailand 6 months out of the year, and then I live in the US 6 months out of the year, and I can tell you that the roads are much darker in certain areas. So this is a great practice for this. Okay, number 3. This is your dark to light vision. So you may have noticed too that you can't see as well in the dark. Here's a practice for you. Easy. It works really well when you're in an area that you're not very familiar with, but it also works really well in your own bedroom. So the key to this, turn all your lights off. Get as pitch black as you can. All of us are scared of the dark somewhere deep down inside, but we can do this. So close your eyes for 10 seconds, and then as you reopen them in the dark, see if you can make out any of the larger pieces of furniture. If it's your room, you probably already know where everything is, but just go with it. Then see if you can make out any of the smaller things. Maybe even rearrange your room every once in a while, or do a fun thing and ask someone else to rearrange your room. And then you can do this practice. And what you're trying to see is how long does it take for my eyes to recalibrate from a light version to a dark version? How quickly can I see in the dark? And the more you practice it, the better it will become. I recommend doing this every night. If you forget, it's great to put on your little alarm that hopefully you have that helps you go to bed at night. Another Ayurvedic practice. So we go to bed at the same time every night. And you can put a little note that says, dark eye gazing. There is a version of this that also works in sunlight where you can use water or anything that's reflective and you squint your eyes looking out onto that, or you can look at things that glare. This is very controversial because some people don't like looking at things that are really bright. And there is, of course, the well-known verbiage that if you stare at the sun, you will go blind. So the problem with this is where we wear sunglasses, we lose the function of calibration of our eyes. They're meant to be in the sunlight and they're meant to be in the darkness. Granted, our eyes are not meant to be able to see as well in the darkness, but as you recalibrate to darkness, you also get to recalibrate to light. So you want to do both. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is one of my favorites. It's very simple and it's a little more to explain, so we're just going to go through it step by step. You may have seen this in yoga eye exercises. This is done in a lot of my yoga classes, and even when I'm teaching yoga and we're in a pose, I just tell people to turn their head, turn their eyes with it. So here it goes. Step 1, you're going to look up. This is called lacrosse. I recommend 3 seconds of breath. Then you're going to look down as far as you can, like you're trying to look past your chin. 3 seconds of breath or 3 breaths, whatever works for you. Then pick a direction. Doesn't matter if it's left or right. In yoga, you may know this as the lunar directions, which typically I've found in fitness, a lot of people don't do them. Okay, left. So you'll notice that going left to right sometimes is much more challenging than going up or down. You may notice that going way up is also very challenging because we just don't do that in our society anymore. Okay, look as far as you can over here. Good. Relax. You can do the cross as many times as you like. I recommend at least 3 rounds, but some people go up to 10. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. Remember that orbicularis oculi? Yeah, that's in control of all these movements. So you will feel some fatigue and maybe some tearing. Also, a little fun fact, if you get tearing, I have a best friend that tears out of her eyes every time she does her makeup. This helps with that practice. There's a whole explanation behind it. Okay, so then after you do the cross, then you're going to do the circle. So you're going to start up at the top, and you're going to draw a clock. So you're at 11, 10, 9. Okay. And sometimes I get to like 9:15, 9:30 with the second hand. It's not an exact science. I'd have to find where the numbers are. So, again, forgive yourself. That's an amazing superpower. All right. If you lose your breath, just go back to it. If you lose your number, make one up. Sometimes I forget what side of the clock I'm on, especially if you have problems with left and right, which is very challenging when you're teaching yoga. Good. Once you get to the top, take a breather, and then we're going to go the other way. So you're going to start up. And again, you want to take that clock as wide as you can so that you are seeing as far to the corners of your eyeballs as you can. You'll also notice your eyes want to stray as they get tired. Just tell them what they're going to do. And then close your eyes for just a few seconds. Now, number 5. This is one that you can do with all of the rest of them. I'm going to show it to you now. I like to call it Mr. Miyagi. Hands together. Warm them up. Nice and warm. And you're going to place them over the eyes. Good. Now, some people just like to relax them here after any of those eye exercises. Just calm the mind. It calms the eyes. It creates a lot of warmth. Or you can press the palms down and then suction cup them up. It's like I highly recommend you don't do this with makeup on, because if you're like me, your eyelashes keep running into you and You're like, oh, I just did this. I don't want to worry, like mess this up. So at night, especially if you've done any of the other exercises or after you've done the distance training, maybe you're sitting at your desk, maybe you're at work, maybe you're in the car, and you just find that point you can stare at. This is a great exercise. So when you do the suction cup, you'll even feel your eyes get a little moist and maybe even tear a little bit. So there you have it. Those are the 5 eye exercises from Ayurveda that help regain and enhance eyesight. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see some more of these fun fitness, beauty tips, health and wellness. Also comment below if there's anything you want to know about. I am an Ayurvedic educator as well as a yoga instructor, fitness professional, beauty professional, and a life coach. So anything you want to know, let's make a video on it. Thanks.